Hello, how are you all doing? Hope everybody's fine. BCCI have just announced the T20I squad of the Indian team that will be travelling to the West Indies. Now, they already had announced the ODI squad. T20 squad was what we were all waiting for. Nikhil Narayan's here with me. What does BCCI want to do with this? Because Virat Kohli has been rested. We kind of knew about that as well. There were reports about that. Jasprit Bumrah, he's also been rested. Yuzvendra Chahal not in the squad as well. What does this mean for Virat Kohli? What does this mean for India wanting to decide the core team for the T20I World Cup? We'll discuss all of that. But first, let's look at the squad itself. And let us take you through the squad before we get to talking about all the players that are there as well as the ones who are missing out on this series. Rohit Sharma, the captain, he returns after being rested for the ODI series. Remember, there's an ODI series before this. Shikhar Dhawan will be captaining the squad there. Then there is Ishan Kishan, who's always been in the scheme of things as their second opener. KL Rahul, he's coming back after an injury. He had some kind of hernia, which he's recovered from, but BCCI has made it clear that only if he's fit that he will be part of the squad. Then there is Suryakumar Yadav, Mr. 360, of course, has to be there. Deepak Hooda, the man whose name everyone's been taking, who they think should replace Virat Kohli in T20Is. There's Shreyas Iyer, Dinesh Karthik, new finisher for this Indian side, Rishabh Pant. He's also rested from the ODI series just before this, but he is in this squad. There's Harshal Patel, Hardik Pandya. He was another name to have been rested from the ODI series in the West Indies. There's Ravindra Jadeja. We saw what he's been doing, not just in the red ball format, but also in the white ball cricket. There's Akshar Patel. Ravichand and Ashwin, he's made a comeback after not having played against South Africa or New Zealand. Ravichand and Ashwin in T20Is. This is interesting. I think this is also because Yuzvendra Chahal has been rested. And Kuldeep Yadav, he's also, his inclusion depends on his fitness. That's what BCCI said. There is Ravi Bishnoi, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Avesh Khan, Arshdeep Singh. The other two names that are not in this, who were part of the T20I squad, were Sanju Samson as well as Umran Malik. Now that we've taken you through the squad, Nikhil, first reactions, Virat Kohli not there. Again, nobody knows what seems to be going on. We have, according to reports, been told that Virat Kohli is asked for rest.
Yes.
But keeping that in mind, are we now looking at even lesser opportunities for Virat Kohli to cement his place in the T20 squad, given that he has been struggling?
Absolutely. Virat Kohli may have asked for rest, but it's up to the BCCI to grant him that, rest and leave. And this should not have, because Virat Kohli ideally needs to play these T20Is to, cement a place or have some momentum going into the World T20, even if his place in the 11 is guaranteed by skipper Rohit Sharma,
Correct.
Which also reports have been suggesting it is. Virat Kohli resting does not send a good signal, for the other team members, because he has been awfully short of runs.
Yes.
He's resting this West Indies series. The next big tournament is the Asia Cup. I'm not counting the series against Zimbabwe, which is being planned mid-August, because most of the big players will be rested from that. The Asia Cup, then we have Australia coming for a limited over series, then we have the World T20. So Virat Kohli, out of form, hasn't scored any runs across formats for 2.5 years.
Correct.
And he's asked for rest. He's been granted rest. Deepak Hooda, what happens if Deepak Hooda again scores, a century, a couple of 50s in the T20I series in the Caribbean?
Absolutely. So I also think that, there is just such a silence around Virat Kohli's groin strain as well. First of all, no one knows whether he'll be playing today. There are reports again suggesting that he will not be available for this second ODI as well. But what kind of injury is it? How bad is it? Is it because of the injury that he's been rested from the T20I series as well? There is absolutely no clarity on what the selection committee is doing at the moment, and which has been going on for a while. We don't get to hear from Chetan Sharma, the chairman of selectors, in any press conferences. And that's the speculation, then where people just wonder what seems to be going on. The other thing, now also looking at this squad, that sticks out for me, Nikhil, is that, like you said, Deepak Hooda has a big opportunity here. He's already shown how good a player he is. But I feel like with this now, if he can play well in the T20Is in the West Indies, things are going to be even more difficult for Virat Kohli.
And there's no reason why he should not play well, because look what he did in the IPL, look what he did in the series to follow. So, you know, in the limited opportunities for India, he's done exceedingly well. He's also now, you know, playing the role of the aggressor batting at number 3. Look at his strike rate. So, Deepak Hooda, I'm sure, will score run. And then you know, what will Rohit Sharma do then? He cannot say, I will back Virat Kohli, come what may. I mean, that is, you won't back Deepak Hooda? You will make him sit out of the 11, because if Deepak Hooda doesn't bat at 3, Surya is now taken number 4 position with T20Is. Number 5, you've got, you know, Hardik Pandya. Number 6 is Jadeja. Where does Deepak Hooda play? You're not playing Deepak Hooda. Remember, KL Rahul also has to fit in the squad.
Correct.
So, you know, it's a big quandary for India. I think Virat Kohli, they've made a big mistake resting Virat Kohli for the West Indies. Are they trying to shield Virat Kohli, knowing that he will fail again, then they'll have to drop him? Are they delaying the inevitable? You don't know. I mean,
you don't even know whether Virat Kohli himself has asked for rest. That's what the reports are suggesting. There's absolutely no official statement from the BCCI about this. So nobody knows whether he's been rested, whether he's been dropped. I don't think he'll be dropped because he's Virat Kohli. But if you could just put the squad up here for all of you to see. And once we put the squad up, I think what we'll be able to see is some of the other players who are missing out from this series, some of the players that are kind of coming back, that are in fact coming back from the ODI series. Now, in the ODI series that India plays against the West Indies, before this T20I series, 5 of your top players are rested. Who are those 5 players? Rohit Sharma, the captain. He is rested. Shikhar Dhawan's captaining that ODI series. Then there is Jasprit Bumrah. His workload has to be managed. He's rested. Rishabh Pant, again, your 3-format player, another 3-format player. He is being rested. Hardik Pandya, who we all think should be wrapped up in cotton wool and should only be unleashed when you absolutely have to. He is also being rested. And then there is Virat Kohli, who is being rested. So, when you look at the squad of the T20I series, 4 of them out of those 5 are coming back, showing and proving that this is in fact the place where a lot will get decided in terms of who India's T20 players would be for the T20 World Cup later this year. Because Rohit Sharma is coming back as the captain, you've got KL Rahul there, this is basically, I think, all the players other than Virat Kohli that they want to try out.
And Bumrah.
And Bumrah, of course. Bumrah being rested, but that's another story, because Jasprit Bumrah, with the amount of cricket that he plays as a fast bowler, he again is so important. We saw what he did in the first ODI. So he needs to be, his being rested, you know clearly why that's being done, because when you put that sheet and you start writing names, Jasprit Bumrah's name will be one of the first ones for the T20 squad. But I'm talking about some of the other players in there. That is the core team. Keeping that in mind, things are going to be difficult, Nikhil. But I also feel that this is the opportunity for all the others. This series, T20Is, is the series for all of them in West Indies to show what they can do, just to solidify their names on that T20I list for World Cup.
Absolutely. You know, if a 15-member squad is announced, this is the series, because after this, as I said, the next big tournament India is playing is the Asia Cup, then Australia, then the World T20. So ideally, India, by the 10th of August, whenever the West Indies is getting over, around the 10th of August, should have the 15. Rohit Sharma and Dravid should know their World Cup 15 by the 10th of August. Now, the problem is Virat Kohli is already a part of that 15, having not done anything in 2.5 years. Because he is Virat Kohli. And one of the informed players will miss out, whether it's a Deepak Hooda or a Dinesh Karthik, I don't know, but one of the players will have to sacrifice, because you can only take so many players, and that will be unfair.
The other thing being then, for all of you who don't know this, BCCI President Sourav Ganguly today made it very clear that he backs Virat Kohli all the way. He said in an interview to ANI, one of the news agencies, that look, Virat Kohli, like many other great players, is going through bad patch, is out of form, but we've all been there. He gave the example of Sachin, himself, Rahul, that they've all been there, and that he needs to figure out for himself how he can get out of the rut, and he will. So you get that from the president as well, where he's being backed. So outwardly, openly, the captain's backing him, the coach is backing him, BCCI president is backing him. But I want to know right now, is there a breaking point for Virat Kohli, and has he reached that breaking point? You know,
Yes.
that is my question right now. With the kind of scrutiny that he's been put under, the kind of failure we've seen, extended form, which is extended bad form, do you feel that it's the breaking point for Virat Kohli right now? And as unfortunate as it is, not just for him, but for Indian cricket.
Yeah, I mean, see, I get the point of him getting a longer rope and a very long rope. He's one of the greatest of all times. Let's not make any mistake about it. But the thing is, if you see and if you do an analysis on the, out of form period of the all-time greats,
Correct.
Sachin, Lara, Richards, Steven Smith, AB, this by far, and I did this analysis, this by far is the longest. Virat Kohli's out of form streak is the longest for, if you consider him an all-time great, it's the longest amongst all these all-time greats. It's longer than any of Sachin's such streak, or Lara or Richards or AB, and therefore I think the breaking point has come. Something radical needs to be done. Either he is dropped or he scores runs. There is no third way. Otherwise, this will affect Team India. This will affect Team India adversely.
Yeah. In fact, all of you who are watching us, how many of you think that Virat Kohli should not be in the World Cup squad? Do write into the comment section below. And how many of you think that he's being unfairly criticized, that there are other players in that team who've not been scoring runs? I mean, this is one question that Sunil Gavaskar asked, where he said that, when Rohit Sharma is not scoring runs, no one's questioning him. And he hasn't been scoring runs as well in the recent times. If you're just looking at Rohit Sharma's
Only
numbers.
in
IPL. Correct. Which is one of the big ways in which your squads get decided. So, no one's asking you that question. So, do you think he's being unfairly criticized because he is Virat Kohli, and of course everybody wants Virat Kohli to score runs? That's a Virat Kohli topic that we'll continue, and I think there is no end to this. We'll have to keep talking about him. But there is also Ravichand and Ashwin back in the mix. This is again another opportunity for Ravichand and Ashwin to show what he's capable of in this T20 format. Now, I think this is also an opportunity where they're trying to decide their final bowlers for the World Cup as well. So, important one for Ravichand and Ashwin, but then we close this show.
Yeah, important one for Ashwin. See, actually, if you see Ashwin's record, his strike rate of around 18 in T20I cricket mega is very, very good. It's excellent, in fact. Also, his quintessential quality in, in T20I cricket, as we've seen in the IPL, is he's a very restrictive bowler. His economy rate of around 6.5 in T20Is and in the IPL is amongst the best in the history of the format. So, he's a restrictive bowler, he's a clever operator, but the problem is, even if he goes in, I don't think he can go in the squad of 15, because you've got Chahal has to go, Jadeja has to go, and I think Kuldeep is in the mix also. So, and there's Bishnoi.
Correct.
Does Ashwin come above these two? I'm not sure. Maybe for the experience, because only 15 or 16 will go. So, although Ashwin's restrictive ability is absolutely phenomenal, and Jadeja is conceding runs in the middle overs.
Correct.
But if two spinners have to play, it has to be Jadeja, it has to be Yuzvendra Chahal. So, it will be tough for Ashwin.
Yes, it will not be easy for Ravichand and Ashwin. It will not be easy for Virat Kohli right now. But with that, we end this show. Do stay with us, because we're going to start another live stream of the preview. India versus England. India will look to seal the series, and England will look to bounce back that in 5 minutes from now. So stay on our YouTube channel, and we'll be back. Goodbye.